It was supposed to be a simple camping trip. Just me and a few friends, seeking a weekend escape from the hustle and bustle of the city. Little did we know that this trip would become a nightmare beyond our wildest imaginations. We arrived at our chosen campsite in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by dense forests and miles away from the nearest sign of civilization. The air was thick with silence, broken only by the faint rustling of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. It was eerie, but in a way, it felt thrilling. As night descended upon us, we gathered around the campfire, its flickering flames casting eerie shadows upon our faces. We told ghost stories, laughing nervously at our own fear. But deep down, I felt a growing unease, as if we were being watched from the shadows. The first sign that something was terribly wrong came when our campfire suddenly extinguished, as if snuffed out by an invisible hand. Panic gripped us, and we scrambled for flashlights and lanterns. The forest around us seemed to close in, suffocating us in darkness. Then, we heard it, a low, guttural growl that sent shivers down our spines. It was unlike any animal sound I had ever heard. We huddled together, our trembling hands gripping our flashlights as we scanned the trees. That's when we saw them. Eyes, dozens of them, glowing in the darkness like malevolent stars. We couldn't see what those eyes belonged to, but we knew they were watching us, sizing us up. My heart pounded in my chest as fear coursed through my veins. We needed to get out of there, but which direction to go? Panic had clouded our judgment, and the forest was an impenetrable maze. As we debated our next move, a piercing, otherworldly scream echoed through the woods. It was a sound that chilled us to the bone, a sound that should not exist in the natural world. It was the sound of agony, torment, and despair all rolled into one. Our group fell into silence, our faces pale, our minds struggling to comprehend what we had just heard. We decided to pack up and leave immediately, abandoning our tents and most of our gear in our haste. We stumbled through the dark, relying on our flashlights to guide us. The forest seemed to close in around us, as if the very trees conspired to keep us trapped in this nightmarish place. With each step, the feeling of being pursued grew stronger. Twigs snapped behind us, and strange whispers filled the air. We dared not look back, for fear of what we might see. Our breath came in ragged gasps, and our hearts raced, but we pressed on, desperate to escape. Hours passed, or perhaps it was only minutes. Time lost all meaning in that haunted wilderness. Suddenly, we stumbled upon a clearing, and the sight that greeted us froze our blood. In the center of the clearing stood a circle of ancient, gnarled trees, their branches twisted into grotesque shapes. At the center of the circle lay a mound of freshly turned earth, like a freshly dug grave. As our flashlights illuminated the mound, we saw the unthinkable. It was a burial site, but not for a human. It was a grave for animals. Dogs, cats, rabbits, and more, their lifeless bodies arranged in a macabre display. Symbols and runes were carved into the trees, and a foul stench hung in the air. In that moment, we realized the horrifying truth. We were not alone in the middle of nowhere. Something malevolent and ancient lurked in those woods, something that reveled in our fear and despair. We had stumbled upon a place of unspeakable darkness, and we were its unwitting guests. With trembling hands, we turned and fled, not caring where we were going, only desperate to escape that accursed place. The forest seemed to release its grip on us, and as we emerged from its sinister depths, we realized we were back in the familiar world of civilization. But the memory of what we had witnessed would haunt us forever.
Hey guys, thank you so much
We
for
had
watching.
ventured into the middle of nowhere, seeking an escape, only to discover a nightmare that defied explanation. And as I sit here, recounting that harrowing experience, I know one thing for certain: we were not meant to know the secrets of the middle of nowhere.